Hey there, and hope you're doing super well today. If it is your morning or night or evening, doesn't matter, whatever time zone you're in, I hope you're doing well. And I have some really enlightening insights to share with you that are like always when the best insights really come from the community here, whether it is a comment or it is somebody that is sharing in a Talking Insomnia episode, or as in this case, we have a message actually from within BedTyme to me, and then there's an email from Hugo. So we're going to take a look at these, and I think this is just brimming with insight, brimming with value here. So I hope you'll agree with me, and please let me know what you think here. So firstly, I want to share just a quick backstory. I think when was this? Like last week sometime, I got this message from a client, and it was one of those like wow moments. And I often talk about magical moments where you have an insight or an experience that really kind of propels you forward. And what I haven't shared so much is that it's really a magical moment for you as a coach too. It's like, wow, it's like you share this magical moment. It was really like that when I saw this from Jacob, and I asked him if I could share it because I sensed that this was so helpful to the community, and he said sure. So I want to say I thank Jacob, and let's take a look here at the five things that Jacob shared here. Let's read this. A few things that I'm discovering along the way. Number one, optimism is a wonderful medicine. The more I stay excited about my life and future, whether that be excitement about overcoming anxiety, insomnia, or continuing to work towards my life goals, the less I experience my daytime anxiety or hyperarousal symptoms. It's as if my body forgets being anxious because I'm focused on bigger and better things. This is, of course, super helpful. It's a lot of times you sense that it is helpful if you focus elsewhere and do things that are, fun and exciting to you. It can be hard to do that, of course, in the beginning of your journey. But it is when you can start shifting your focus, it's really helpful to kind of like to do that. Like when you start seeing that, I think I can focus on somewhere else, like really follow that instinct, if you will. Someone that was on the channel, her name is Ellen Wormter. She was a guest here. She said that it is something like, insomnia tends to kind of crowd out, a lot of things in your life. And when there's something else in your life that starts taking that space, it is really helpful. That then kind of crowds out the insomnia, if you will. And you can see for Jacob, that has started to happen. So that is first really nice thing I read there. Number two here, education and acceptance are key to quote unquote recovery. I love how Jacob put the quotation signs there, because recovery indicates that there's a problem or an illness. There really isn't one, but in lack of a better word, we often use recovery. So anyway, education and acceptance are the key to recovery. I was concerned that I was over obsessing about educating myself on my conditions and that it would lead to even more anxiety. However, as I learn more about these topics, I feel more enlightened and empowered to continue my journey towards a healthy life. Through your examples, such as there is no mental off switch and there is no grizzly bear, I've been able to put my mind at ease knowing there is no battle to be won against myself. It's so powerful. I just love reading this. There is no battle to be won against myself. I think this is super helpful. And I get this question quite a lot when people are sort of new clients or new to the channel, and they say like, I'm like kind of consuming your videos like nonstop. Is that a problem? And I'm like, as long as you're learning, it really isn't. The first step is education, because when you understand, then there's nothing for the brain to kind of try to figure out or solve. And when it goes towards like, oh, there's nothing to solve, like I understand it, then you can take those steps away from the struggle, which there, and then when there is no battle against yourself, that is hugely helpful. So another one, like this just gave me goosebumps, honestly, to read this thing. Number three, continue life as normal. I didn't realize it before, but the fact that I was modifying my daily activities to improve my symptoms was actually hindering and possibly worsening my ability to progress. Another huge one from Jacob here. Today I was listening to Pema Chodron. She is super insightful. Her name is Pema, Pema, last name Chodron, Pema Chodron. And she said something that just immediately stuck in my brain. It was like, we search for strength in places that in places of where that gives us weakness or something like that, where we search for strength, we actually find weakness. And this is like you're looking to keep yourself safe from, the threat of insomnia, for example, or keep yourself from not feeling so tired, and do things to kind of like protect yourself in a way. And that the more you protect yourself, the more it seems like there's something to be afraid of, and then you get into more trouble. So this is super, super insightful from Jacob here. Like, by modifying my daily activities, by trying to preserve energy and not feel so tired, etc., you actually end up in a more tricky spot, deeper down the hole, if you will. So super, super helpful, this one. Number 4, befriending wakefulness. What? This sounds crazy. But every time I heard you say this, I thought it was a mistake or typo. I thought I was supposed to befriend sleep because I was anxious or fearful of sleep. But now it makes sense. Actually, I'm afraid of being awake and missing out on sleep. Probably a silly and obvious point that I overlooked, but it makes perfect sense now. And by truly enjoying my wake time, it will make me less anxious about falling asleep or waking up. Yep. Here you see, Jacob has completely understood like the concept of befriending wakefulness. Sounds kind of off when you're like, wait a minute, I want to sleep more. Why am I supposed to be up like doing things that I like to do in the middle of the night when I want to sleep? For exactly this reason, you're teaching the brain there is no fear, there is no threat, there's nothing, there's no enemy. So this is befriending wakefulness. And number 5, there is no playbook. I'm naturally such a rule follower. This is not necessarily a good thing when dealing with the mind, because it assumes that if you do X, then you should see results, right? Nope. The mind doesn't work that way. The more effort you put in, the worse it gets. This is so different from everything else in life. I still struggle with this one, but at least I kind of get it. These are just a few of the realizations I've had, but I thought I'd share some with you. Also, it's beneficial for me to type my thoughts out, as it helps me reflect on and retain the information. Gotta go. My wife put on a show and I lost my train of thought. Thanks again. I'll keep you posted on my progress to mental freedom. As you can tell, this was such a powerful message to read, and I really hope it resonated with you and was helpful to you. And I want to thank Jacob again for allowing us to share this. So now let's move on to the second message here, which is from Hugo, who has posted many comments here. He's been a real supporter of this channel. And also, by the way, graduated the self-coaching program. And he's actually going to guest the channel and share more of his journey, which I think is going to be amazing. In the meantime, he sent me this. He actually sent an email to me with this and saying, like, this could be helpful for the channel. And I think it truly is. So the title was How to Recognize You're in the State of Natto and How to Break Free from It. Natto, I don't use that too much, but it's an important, it's a helpful, thing to know about. It's basically attachment to the outcome. It's when you're like attached to something, you're like, I gotta sleep. The more attached you become, the more trouble you have. That's natto, attachment to the outcome. And the opposite is natto, non-attachment to the outcome, which is the name of our school here at the Sleep Coach School, our school of thought, and also the name of where you want to get to, the non-attachment there. So, okay, let's read this. As we learned from Daniel, being in the state of natto is what frees us from the grip of insomnia and ultimately leads to effortless sleep. The state of atto, the striving, the trying, the desiring to sleep, is what keeps us locked in it. That sounds simple enough, and it is simple, but in practice, many of us will have to admit it's not so easy just to switch to the natto state. And this is because when you are trapped inside that attachment, atto, we often don't realize it. This is because, according to our own brain, it seems we're doing the exact right thing. To the brain, it seems we're taking steps to prevent more bad nights happening. The brain thinks striving and analyzing, etc., is a good thing. As long as we are under this impression, all the focus will be on the content of our thoughts. Should I do this or should I do that? And thus we overlook being in natto. In order to become aware of being in natto, we have to shift the focus from the content of our thoughts to the way we are thinking our thoughts. Let me illustrate with this example from my own experience yesterday. I was feeling very exhausted, and this often accompanied by fear of skipping another night, as well as a strong desire for sleep. So my brain becomes very active in wanting to control the situation. Should I go to bed along with my partner, who goes to sleep early usually, so that I'm more relaxed? Will eating too much sugar arouse me too much for sleep? Should I read or listen to podcasts before I go to bed, etc., etc.? Suddenly, the realization came that all these thoughts had a very tensed up quality. My whole inner attitude was one of tension and control. I made a shift from merely thinking my thoughts to being aware of their quality, the way I was thinking them. This cut me loose from their influence, and I was then able to ask myself the question, what do I actually want to do in this moment? What I feel like doing, independent of the effects on sleep? This is a question that comes from the state of natto. For anyone who's interested, the answer was, I was so tired, I didn't feel like doing anything. I read a book for half an hour, went to bed at 8:30, and slept like a log. The real nice little, ending there, of course. But the fact whether Hugo slept or not, it wasn't what was important here. It was really that realization that when you are kind of like subconsciously or mindlessly, if you will, problem solving, then you get caught up in the thoughts themselves. Like, should I do this? Should I do that? Maybe I should this, maybe that. But then when you cannot step out of that into that non-attached state, if you will, the outside look, then you can be like, wait a minute, all these thoughts are kind of like centered around sleep and like what I should or shouldn't do. But what do I just feel like doing? And when you get to that point, things get much easier. You become detached from that whole the efforts, and beautiful things come your way. I want to thank Hugo and again, Jacob. These were super, super helpful. Thanks for all the support. And anyone who has a comment, you can leave a comment here in the comment section, of course. And you can also send a question if you head over to thesleepcoachschool.com. Up top, it says, have a question. You can submit a question for open class. And if you find everything you need here, that is perfect. Of course, this channel is here so that you actually never need anything more. If that's you, if you get everything you need here in open class and in the content here, that's fantastic. If you do want a little bit more guidance, support, etc., on your path towards sleeping well for the rest of your life, then consider heading to the App Store and download BedTyme, where you can get a coach, which is myself, and a curriculum in one. And we also, of course, if you would like to join a community, then the self-coaching master program is really good for you. Sharing is caring, as we say, and you can head over to our website and you can check out a free class there if you would like to do that. So again, thank you so much for being with us. And again, thanks to Hugo and Jacob, and I'll be back with more soon. Until then, take it easy.